Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. This is your Tuesday morning show, and it is Wednesday morning.
Good morning. Yay.
Good morning, Kristin. So good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Tina.
For people that don't know, we should tell them. I'm Tina Prigge with Vagabond Creative Studio. This is Kristin Odell of KLO LLC. We are moms, we're entrepreneurs, and we're just here to have a fun conversation with you in the morning.
And some hot coffee.
Hot coffee.
I just realized that I didn't put my name in my signature thing today. Can you tell that it's been a busy week and it's only Wednesday and I'm clearly losing it?
So today you shall be known as Chloe.
Yes, I am. Hello, I am Chloe.
Nanu. Wait, or is this live long and prosper? I think I've got my sci-fi things. I don't know.
I do it. There we go. I did do it. It takes me a lot of mental power to be able to do that.
Nice. And I'll be your air traffic controller today with these earphones in.
I love it. So Tina, you're in your real office at the office.
I am.
Tell us what it's like to work there versus at home.
You know, it's pretty exciting, and it also is a better way to leave work at the office. It's great because Jason, this is his hub where he does most of his work. And so the collaboration that occurs when we're actually in the same space is pretty amazing.
Nice. Well, and I suppose you guys have so many moving pieces that it's actually really nice probably to be able to be there together in one place rather than, I don't know if you're anything like Doug and I, but like you're texting or emailing and different things are happening during the day. So to be there together is probably pretty cool.
Right. And for a while, it was important that I was working from the home office with virtual school. But now that it's summer, my teen doesn't get up before noon anyway. So I'm like, why do I need to be in my home office if he's just sleeping? So it's great. It's great to be downtown.
For you. Well,
Thanks.
you guys have such a beautiful office. So why not work there and spend time there?
Thanks. Right. And the Wi-Fi is better here and the lighting seems better in this office.
Life is better when Wi-Fi is good.
Right. It's true. Hey, Kristin, have you been keeping track of the Olympics, watching any of the recaps or what's going on over in Tokyo?
I think we have been watching it mostly just at night. Sometimes for Doug and I, even when the kids are in bed, but I think they've watched it a little bit during the day. But yes, it's so much fun and it's exciting to see athletes competing. I'm always impressed when I hear stories where, you hear stories where like Simone Biles, where she has competed as like a little girl and they show these video clips of her. And then they also have things like I'm sorry, because I don't know the woman's name, but she is a bike trail riding athlete and she did not start until she was in high school and she was just looking for something to do. And her high school had a bike trail riding club. And now she's in her 20s, she's an Olympian. So like, she's really done it 4 to 6 years. And I think there's a lot of inspiration that comes from being able to go and say, hey, I'm just a strong individual and I can go pick up or try something and be very successful at it.
You know, that is inspirational too, because it means you didn't always have to know what your path was going to be. You can shift, at any point in your life and become a new success. You can become an Olympian, for goodness sake. Wow.
Right. That's exactly right. Or last night we were watching the 400-meter hurdles, the female 400-meter hurdles. And one of the athletes mistakenly got entered in that race and became a world record holder.
What?
So she is running it as one of her events, but she was accidentally entered in it. Like, what are to me that, my explanation for that is like, that's a God thing because that was meant to happen that way. And, I'm sure certain other people would have other ways of explaining it, but like, there's a reason she's doing that. There's a reason she won a medal last night running that event. And it's like, that was not an accident.
Wow. I hadn't heard that story. That's impressive. It's just impressive to see the level that these athletes are competing at. When I watch like the gymnastics or like springboard competition, where they're twisting and in the air and have to be so precise, I try to put my mind like, could I do that? And I've stood on the end of a springboard before and I'm pretty sure I couldn't get myself to do that.
I think one of the things about that is for me, I'm always looking at it, whether it's like gymnastics or diving, like, how did they start doing that? How did they start, doing that event? And then, so like one of the it was men's diving was on last night that we were watching. One of them was a gymnast, and then he went from being a gymnast to being a diver. So I can see how that talent would translate from one to another, but being on the end of the diving board and jumping in water is very different than like being on the floor or being on a set of bars or a like it's just very interesting to me. Again, a strong individual can transfer their skills and become very successful at it.
Yeah, right. I guess that explains being able to twist and manipulate their bodies in the air.
Right.
But it's fascinating because even like the judges were talking about, or the commentators were talking about with the springboard, it makes a certain sound when you do it right, and it makes another sound, kind of like a stomping sound or whatever, if you kind of bounce or hit it wrong.
Right.
I mean, so there's just so much that goes into it, just from how you even spring off the board, before you start all the twisties and stuff. So it's amazing.
One of the other events that I've seen is the equestrian prancing event.
Dressage, it's called. I found out.
Dressage. I am astonished, not only because you obviously have to be a very talented rider and handler to be able to control the horse, to be able to do it, but then like, again, where do we start training horses to be able to do this? And I actually saw this hilarious video clip this morning. It's Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg commenting on unique Olympic sports. And one of them was the, what did you say? Dressage?
Dressage, yeah.
Dressage. They were also commenting on men's synchronized diving. And it was so funny, but Snoop was like, dang, he is dancing. Like, they were talking that the horse should get the medal, not the handler, because the handler doesn't have to do anything. The horse has to do it.
I was kind of thinking that same thing when I was watching it. It is incredibly beautiful. I mean, the animals were gorgeous. And for them to be able to kind of prance around and do what they're doing, it's impressive. But I was kind of surprised. It was an Olympic sport because, like you said, it seems to be more about the animal than the handler. But I suppose without the trained handler, the animal wouldn't be doing that.
I completely agree. But yes.
That was actually the first Olympic sport I saw this year. It was on a TV in a waiting room, and I was just like, what? Like, I wasn't even sure what I was watching.
I know. It's such a unique thing, but the girls, we just have really enjoyed as a family sitting down some nights to watch. I think it's exciting to see people perform really well. I think it gives me pride in my own country, of course. Like, I don't know how you cannot be patriotic watching that. So I don't know. It's a good family thing to watch.
And what's interesting is no athlete is there alone. They're like with teammates to support them and, cheer them on, but they're also almost always anyway, with a coach. Like they didn't get there alone and they're not there alone. And so, I thought it was kind of an interesting metaphor that, having like a coach there to support you and keep you on track. And then it kind of reminded me of what you do.
Aw, that's very nice. I don't know if I could be compared to Olympic coaches, but yeah, it is fun. I mean, it's about inspiration. It's about getting people to kind of do what they do best, right? And I'm fortunate because I get to do that in the office with a lot of people, but I also get to do that with kids in the evening. So I think, being able to inspire somebody to do their best is pretty fun.
Yeah. You know which one I've been geeking out over is hammer throw. Have you seen the beasts and the hammer throw? I mean, it blew my mind.
Can you get up and show us how that works?
I cannot. So the hammer throw, I can explain it, is like kind of like this really heavy shot put on some kind of a lead.
Okay.
And they have like a specific circle that they stand in and they start to spin. And then they do this crazy, insanely fast spin and they have to release it at a certain point. And the goal is to get that, shot put on the lead, the hammer, I guess, to go as far of a distance as they can.
I have seen that on replay. And it is insane.
It's insane. It's insane.
I do actually feel like that's something I might be able to train for. Maybe.
Yeah, I suppose with the strength training that you do.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe mention it to Matt. Let's see if we can have a local.
Yeah, a local shot putting club. Hey, watchers, you tell us if you would want to join Tina and I shot put club.
Oh, I just want to watch. I'll take the photos.
No, that's not okay.
Nobody needs to see me do this and then throw it 2 feet.
Yes, they do. We might need some humor in the club.
I'll be like the court jester, the comic relief.
That's right. Okay, really quick. Speaking of court jester, you finished your play up last weekend. Tell us how it went. Like, how did it feel that last show? Tell us all about it.
It was so fun and so fulfilling to be back on stage. I love the feeling of being backstage and like the anticipation of crossing the legs of the curtains and then being on stage. I love the feel of the lights and I love the energy that you get from the audience. I love when you can hear the audience feedback, you know, when a certain line is delivered, if it's funny, they laugh. If it's a zinger, they might gasp. It's so great when you know that they're following along with what you're doing. So in this particular play, I was playing the villainess and it was great. The last show, the villainess, she delivers these horrible lines and she's a horrible character, right? She's designed to be the one that you hate in the show. And the other characters on stage get together and essentially like throw her off and the audience applauded. It was awesome because that means I did my part really well.
That's really good. I'm so glad. So will we see Tina on stage again soon?
I don't have any plans. It's funny because we always joke. Jason and I have always both loved theater. And we're always like, oh yeah, it's just a show. You know, like there's only a certain number of rehearsals and a certain number of performances, no problem. But when you're actually in a show, it's kind of like when you have kids, right? He said, you know, I just have to put this up, Kristin. He said, people without kids tell me they're exhausted, right? It's like being in a show, you forget it's completely mentally and physically taxing and exhausting. So rewarding, but it totally like takes your time and your effort and the lines and this new character are inhabiting your head. Right. And so then we're always like, oh, it's a show. So I don't have any plans too soon. You know, if the right character comes up, the right opportunity, I'll give it consideration.
I love this. This is from Jason. Bunny is the opposite of who Tina is. I hated Bunny.
So Bunny was my character's name. You know,
is the wig gone from your house now since he hates Bunny?
It's the first thing I got rid of. Right after curtain call, I quickly took it off and gave it back to the director. I'm like, here you go.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad things went well for you. That is really, really cool. And I'm sure that people that were able to join you for the show thoroughly enjoyed it. I have no doubt.
Thanks. I hope so. And it was a great experience with the cast and the director too. You know, speaking of Bunny, I snapped this picture in our yard. I thought it was so cute. I love the wild bunnies that I see in the yard, but this is my teen's truck. And I thought it was kind of cool. It was like this little bunny was guarding the truck until he comes out.
Right. It does look like his little spirit animal coming to say hello there.
And it would be hilarious because he's such a big kid. If a bunny was his spirit animal, I would love that.
Well, or sometimes, I think we've actually talked about this on the show, individuals come to visit as animals. So like, you know, Jason's uncle just passed away. Could that be a representation of his uncle guarding the truck?
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a beautiful way to look at it.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, so Kristin, we were talking about the Olympics. We were geeking out on some of these awesome sports. This looks like something we should talk about. Look at these trophies.
I know. This was just this last Monday night. We wrapped up our Manitowoc Youth Baseball season, and the girls played in the championship, which was so exciting against Two Rivers. And I will say it didn't quite go how we hoped, but they did such a good job, and we've had such a fabulous season. So they took second place in the league and second place in the tournament, and nobody can be sad about that. So this was after the game with Grace, and I'm just so proud of her. So, you know, she's going to be 12 very soon, and it's so fun to just see everything that she's doing and how much she's grown and changed just even in this one little role of being a softball player. I just really admire her. And, you know, this girl catches, which is not an easy job. And she caught 6 innings in that last game and just totally kicked butt back there. So yeah, I just had to share it because I think she's awesome. And like I said, her birthday's coming up. I can't hardly believe she's going to be 12.
So from this to
Uh-huh.
this, right?
Oh,
Aw,
look at that little sweet teeny baby.
those little cheeks. Oh,
I know, so peaceful. Now when she's not happy, she just tells me exactly how it is and sometimes where I should go with it. So I know.
it's
I
amazing to be witness to that lifetime,
right,
right? To go from this little tiny peanut, totally new to the world, to then now you're at this stage, right? So to see all of that like up close and personal, it's really special to get that insight to be a parent.
right. And I mean, I'm like, we're super lucky because the person I coach with is very helpful and supportive. We have awesome parents. So, there's never any drama that way. I'm like so lucky. But I get the up close and personal stuff with her on the field. Like that's an experience that she and I, get to share throughout the year. And I think we will have great memories of this as she gets older. So it was so fun.
That's awesome. So for example, like this is my teen. What blew my mind is he took it upon himself. He researched and ordered all of the parts to build his own computer. So this is him building his own computer because he wanted something faster and something that could handle some games that he wanted to do. Before he got the parts, he even got this game where it is build your own computer. And it like walks you through the steps of building it and like some of the pitfalls and some of the things that go together and don't go together. And then he like used his own money and purchased all these parts, right? And I was like, oh no, like, when you order individual parts, if they don't work, you can't send them back. And I thought, what's going to happen? And he totally figured it out. And now he's got his own computer that he built. It blows my mind.
That is amazing. I cannot wrap my brain around doing that. I admire Teek's talent so much in that way. Like, holy smokes. That's like a proud mama moment. You should be super proud of him.
I am so proud, especially because neither I nor Jason have any experience with electronics. So like if he ran into a pitfall, we couldn't help him. He had to just go to like YouTube University or like call up a friend or something, and I'm just, I'm really proud that he saw it through, and it blows my mind.
Does he enjoy it as a hobby, or do you think this is like indicative of what he might do as a career?
I think it's too soon to say. I mean, it came out of nowhere. Like he had never expressed interest in doing anything like that. And then all of a sudden dove headlong into it and was successful. Awesome. So I have no idea. The sky is really the limit, I guess.
That is very cool. So is he running games on this computer already?
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. That is so cool.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah. Blew my mind.
I have no words. I have no more words for that. I can't even comprehend how. I would not know how to do that. I would not even know where to start to do that.
Honestly, I didn't even ever think of it as a possibility until he mentioned it. I would have never thought about building my own. I just thought, you usually order it with the specs that you need. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Or where to order parts from.
I know. And because you can't it's not like you can just get any motherboard and any GPU and any CPU and blah, 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 right? Terms I just learned from him, by the way. They have to have the right specs to be compatible. So he had to like figure all of that out.
Right. That is very cool.
How about this? Does this blow your mind too, Kristin? Look, it's us.
So I was kind of going back through pictures last night. And as we often do, so you guys, like part of Tina and I's prep is we usually look through our weekends or whatever. And for some reason, I was like scrolling back. I think I was looking for Grace's birthday pictures, and this picture popped up. So Tina, this is like very close to the beginning of Tina and Kristin.
Had we even started it yet? Wait,
no,
so this is no,
yeah. So Tina and I have participated in the Snoga event at Woodland Dunes, probably in like January or February. And then the second time we met was at this chamber event at Modern by Megan. So 2018, which I feel like you've been my dear friend forever. So the fact that we just met in 2018 is kind of crazy. It's been 3 years.
That's it, Kristin. How can that be?
I know. Isn't that so cool? I saw it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this like documented the beginning of our friendship. I have to send this in today.
Okay, see if you can recreate it just a little. Lean your head in. Awesome.
I'm not good at this tonight. Nor is my hair that blonde or spiked up today.
Do you still spike it up like that from time to time?
I do. Yes.
Nice.
I do.
Nice. Very cool. I'm so glad that you found that and that you shared that. Yeah, and it's hard to believe that it's only 3 years. It feels like many, many more.
I know, because I think we have so many awesome memories together. I think that's what's cool, when I think back even to like the first networking event that I did with you and Jason, like it wasn't that long ago, but these are like really cool, fun things that we did together. So,
Speaking of events, is this a good forum? Do you want to mention the event that you've got coming up or not yet?
I'm going to hold off.
Ooh, all right.
Hold off because I'm going to go this way. The amazing Tina is helping me pull some marketing materials together, and everything's going to come up very soon. So I think maybe we can just include that in an update.
Okay.
If
you gotta stay tuned.
If you missed the teaser from last week, go watch the show from last week because you'll get a little pre-scoop. But yes, I would say in the next 2 weeks, all the information will be out. Ticketing will be out. It's going to be awesome.
Well, this is a good teaser then, Kristin.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for that little teaser.
Hey, speaking of pictures, you shared what seems to be a very young Doug with a very delicious looking plate of food in Kohler, maybe?
So this is actually at the Olive Garden in Appleton.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why I sent this was the week before I was due with Grace. So we were talking about Grace's birthday coming up and how much she's a young lady. We went to Olive Garden. I think he was trying to throw me in labor by feeding me a lot of pasta and making me overfull. It didn't work. But this is also the night that her name was going to be Haley Grace. And we sat across each other at the table and said, we don't really like the name Haley. We like the name Grace, and then changed her name. So I thought for so many reasons, like, first of all, he's like my life partner. I love him dearly. He does look young in this picture. But yeah, this was like the prelude. This is 12 years ago, us waiting for Grace to come and deciding to change her name. So
that's amazing. What's her middle name now? What did you pair with Grace?
Louise.
Is that a family name?
It's a family name on Doug's side of the family. So a lot of the women in his family have Louise, and then he actually had, like, there was an Uncle Louis, and one of his grandfather's brothers was Louis as well. So it as in the males and females in his family. So yeah.
Nice. Well, good choice. I love the name Grace.
Thank you. She's definitely grown into it, although her as a preteen, her words are not always so graceful to her mother, but that's okay.
Come on, teens, we need you to work on this. It seems like that's endemic to being a teen.
Right. So yeah,
So the reason I knew that this was a young Doug is because you sent me this photo, but you also sent me this photo, and so.
So first of all, let's not call this old Doug because I don't think he would appreciate that. And I'm definitely not even going to say middle age because that sounds horrible. So I'm just going to say this is the more mature Doug.
This is prime Doug.
This is handsome, distinguished Doug with his little salt and pepper hair going on. We had an opportunity on Saturday to, first of all, spend the afternoon and evenings with some amazing friends, another couple. And then second of all, we hit up so many awesome sites. Starting out at Solarian Vineyard, they had live music on Saturday afternoon. So we just sat on the patio out there and visited and had an amazing conversation, and then came into town and, spent some time. There was a band at the Wharf. There was a band at Fat Seagull, and we had dinner at Parker's downtown. And we just spent the whole night walking around downtown, and it was really fun. And so we snapped this picture right around sunset because it was so beautiful.
So what's cool is you totally spent a night on the town in Manitowoc. So that's really cool. Right. And then I have to say, I just saw this as a little thumbnail, and I was assuming, for some reason, I thought you guys had gone to Florida or South Carolina. And now that I see it large, I see the submarine. You're in Manitowoc. This is awesome.
You're right. I even just sitting down listening to the band on Saturday night, we're like, we're so lucky. This doesn't feel like Manitowoc. I love that this is our town. So We had
Yeah.
an awesome night. It was so much fun.
So I wonder how long is it going to take before that phrase drops out of our lexicon, where we no longer have to say, this doesn't feel like Manitowoc, where we're just like, this is Manitowoc, this place. I mean, it rocks, right? But yet you can tell by saying this doesn't feel like Manitowoc that we don't all believe that it should yet rock, or we don't believe yet that it rocks, that it's just like anomalies when it does. So at what point, when do you think the balance shifts that we no longer are surprised?
I think that we should stop right now. I'm never going to say that again. I think you should have shirts made that say, "This is my town." Right? This is my town. Look at how awesome my town is.
That reminds me of the most hilarious haunted house I ever went to. It was with my brother John. It was in like Sheboygan at the mall, like the old, it was like an old JCPenney's or old Yonkers or something. And it was really the worst haunted house. It was just so like simple and open. And we walked in and this guy was the sheriff and he goes, "Get out of my town." But he wasn't scary. He wasn't like just and every now and then, like as you're walking through this big vacuous room to get like to the next point, he would just walk by and be like, "Get out of my town." And we just thought it was hilarious. So for years, we still say that. And this was probably 30 years ago that we had that experience.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Welcome to my town. Welcome to my awesome town.
Yeah.
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 It was fun. So,
hey, speaking of awesome, we were talking about the Olympics. This is from our sister city in Kamogawa. And this guy in the very middle, that's Kunizaki Katsumi. And then right behind him, the girl with the heart on her shirt, that's Odaka Yukari. They got to participate in the torch ceremony. And so they had this really cool little animation made, and then it turned into t-shirts and posters. And I'm just, so proud of him because I know him and he's such a good friend to the Sister City friendship. He's been to Manitowoc a couple of times. And so it's really kind of special that Manitowoc has this connection to the Tokyo Olympics.
I think it is really, really cool. Did they send this to you as a gift?
They did.
What a special thing. Like, what a nice surprise to get in the mail and see this and, be able to have a connection with them. Because this is a very exciting time for Tokyo, obviously, to have the Olympics there. We've talked about that amazing intersection. How many times have you seen that promoted on the Olympic commercials?
Oh my God, so many times. So many times. Yeah.
Like every time I see it, I think of you now, Tina, in our conversation. But okay, so are some of the other characters on here actual Japanese athletes, or are they just characters to fill in the shirt? Now I'm curious.
That is a really good question. I should try to figure that out.
Okay, you can tell us more about that next week.
Yeah, thanks. I just had to share that exciting news.
I love the cartoon character of them, and just what a special thing for them to get to participate in that torch ceremony.
Yeah. And especially too with, Japanese excel at anime and manga. And so it's kind of that style. And I love that they're embracing that. And you're seeing it like peppered throughout the Olympics too, on some of the different signs. And, I love that they have certain things that they excel at and they're really good at. And so they just maximize it, right? Manga, anime, some of the traditional, textile dyeing and silks and all that. Like, I love that concept of knowing what you're good at and just totally pursuing it and like going all in and celebrating it.
I noticed on their little flower arrangements that, can you tell my desk has moved and I'm having a problem with orientation today? Each little thing, it looks like Hello Kitty, but it might not be exactly Hello Kitty. It could be a little anime character, but each of the flower arrangements that the Olympians have a little cartoon character on them. And again, they're leaning into who they are and making that part of the ceremony.
That's so cool. And, I heard that, Jeff, that's such a good point. It's not a bad thing that our city constantly surprises us. Yes. Right.
As long as it's surprising in a good way.
Right. I read that all of the medals, like the gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals that they're giving out were made using recycled electronic components. Mm-hmm. So they put out a call and people in the country like donated their old electronics and that's what they broke down and then Isn't that kind of cool?
Does that mean gold is not gold, or is gold still gold
I think gold is still gold. I think like they use some of those precious metals,
to make them?
in small amounts.
Right.
So
Very cool. That is so awesome. Hey, since Jeff Tess is watching, I'm just going to mention there's a new, is it Hometown Eats?
yes,
There's a
yes.
new Hometown Eats episode. Jeff and Jason went and checked out Bricks. So I'm just mentioning that to give our friend Jeff a little shout out.
Yeah, stay tuned. It's a really cool place. They had really delicious food, and these two are just so enjoyable to watch. I love their banter back and forth and the fun that they have with food. So I'm really
Right.
looking forward to seeing the episode.
Right. So, and I see Michael popped in this morning. Good morning, Michael. And Patty. Patty said the Olympic spirit is admirable. I think you popped that up earlier. Yeah, again, it's really exciting to just see not only the athletes performing well for their countries, but standing up in such a patriotic way to represent where they come from. Very cool.
Yeah. And just to be able to dig that deep to perform at that level, and that it's not just one person doing that there are so many athletes, it's commendable.
Right. For sure. Yeah, it takes a lot of, there's been a lot of talk about Simone Biles and her mental health over the last week and her decision to withdraw for some events. And I think as an athlete at any level, or as a professional at any level, when you have big moments, it takes a lot of mental capacity to rise up and be able to handle those situations. And so it's not just the physical performance of it, but it's kind of the mental toughness to be able to endure getting through that. So very, very exciting. So much fun being able to watch people from around the world have great performance.
Yeah. And it is a good reminder too that we are all human. Every athlete that we're watching is human. And that if they're presented with a situation that doesn't seem tenable, that it is okay to step back and say, I choose safety, or I choose not to do this until I feel right about it.
Right. For sure. Without a doubt. Yeah. I don't think people probably do that as often as they need to. So, yeah. Very
Cool.
good.
Wow, this has been awesome. I have to say a half an hour is already whizzed by. So I think that we should probably stop our conversation here. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday morning. Kristin's coffee is gone.
I know, I need a refill.
So we'll be back next Tuesday. Already looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you all then.
Thanks, guys, for the flexibility too. I had to work yesterday morning. I had a commitment with a client that I absolutely had to be there for. And so thank you all for joining us on Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
Yeah, it was awesome. We'll see you next time on Coffee with Kristin and Tina, you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.